Hey everyone, it is the Angry Honey Badger here, and it is in fact time to take a look at patch notes 4.6. With me today, we obviously have Kyle. Kyle, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Not too bad myself. So what we do in patch notes is we cover the patch more in depth. We talk about the changes of what's happening in the patch. Gonna let you know what's important, what's not important, and me and Kyle just kind of go at it. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the patch. This is patch 4.6. A lot of tweaks mostly in this patch, but let's go ahead. Yeah, it's not. I don't think this one's. It's obviously nowhere near the size of 4.5. That was huge. So let's go ahead and just jump right into champion changes, starting off with Aatrox. Now on Aatrox, this is just a bug fix. They fixed it where you could change this effect on his W. So every 2 attacks you get healed instead of every 3. And this actually affected games in the LCS. So they had to fix this.
Yeah, it was pretty broken if you could get the bug to take over.
Yeah, so just really a bug fix on Aatrox, so we won't see this being abused anymore. But besides that, next we do have, in fact, Gragas, who did have his rework, so they're going to do some tweaks to him. First off, what they've done is on his Drunken Rage, on his W, they removed the self-slow, where Gragas' movement speed was slow while channeling it. And then on his E ability, which is his Body Slam, they have reduced the cooldown to 12 seconds at all ranks instead of it scaling down to 12 seconds. So should help him a little bit, I think.
I actually think it's going to help him quite a bit. I don't know if you've played the new Gragas, but you almost had to max E second, and now it'll allow you to max Drunken Rage second because of that cooldown at all rankings, because it's not very great in terms of like damage. So you were just doing it more for like the mobility factor, but now that it's lower at all ranks, it'll allow you to get that W second and max that out. So it should help Gragas a lot.
Yeah.
He's pretty good in the top lane right now, I think.
Yeah, I think he's good in top lane. I played him a little bit with the rework. I thought there was going to be some little tweaks, and obviously that's always going to happen after reworks. I do see what you're saying, though. I completely agree. This is going to definitely help all that out because there's some really good damage on Drunken Rage, but you weren't able to really do that because you need to put more points into Body Slam. So this is going to really actually help that out, and this should actually hopefully just kind of slide him into where he needs to be. So kind of happy about that change. Should help Gragas out a little bit. Maybe we'll see him a little bit more.
Yeah, I think AP top laners are just kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
They're either too strong or too weak. So hopefully this puts him right where he needs to be.
In the sweet spot. We'll see if they find it. Hopefully they do. Next, of course, we have Kassadin, who has been under his rework and such. They like where Kassadin is out. We're going to talk about this one a little bit. First off, what they've done to tweak a little bit of him. First, they've touched his passive movement speed. He's going to get 10 more now. And then his mana per level is going to go up from 45 to 70. And then what they've also done is on his Q, which is his null sphere. What they're doing there is the shield of it is actually going to get bigger, and it's going to have a better ability power ratio on that. So they're going to do that. And then on
That's pretty massive.
Yeah, it's a really big one. Basically it goes from 40, which it still starts at 40, but it's going to scale to 200 at 0.8 ability power instead of 160 at 0.3. So his shield is going to get big.
Isn't that comparable now to Victor's Q?
More so.
It's pretty close to the same shield numbers. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a pretty big shield now, but they want him in the fight. I mean, he is melee.
He needs to be because the shield was almost obsolete. Like you didn't even notice it most of the time.
I actually thought it was fine, but that's fine. And then on his W, which is his Nether Blade, they also changed the active damage on that. It's going to scale up higher. It starts the same, but it scales up higher towards the late game, and the ability power ratio of that has also been changed. It's 0.7 instead of 0.6. So he's going to get a little bit more damage from that too. So overall, Kassadin got a buff. And
once again, getting him in that melee range though with that W.
Yeah, it's all the range. It's going into melee range, which is where he's getting the buff. So a lot of people say Kassadin's worthless and has fallen off. I don't actually think so. I think he's fine. So this is just a good buff to him. So I hate to say he's going to be overpowered again, but this is going to probably help him out quite a bit.
I just think people don't know what kind of team comp, because you could put Kassadin in any team comp before and he could just roll the game over like before he got his rework. And now I think it's just going to take some time to formulate team comps where Kassadin can be effective. I think the mana per level is really, really good though because of that riff walking that Kassadin's love to do so much.
Oh yeah, it makes sense for them to change that if that's how they're going to base him. So that was something I think they probably just overlooked a little bit, and we're seeing mana problems, especially since people probably weren't building enough mana on him now. Because now you're going to want to do the tier, you're going to want to do the Rod of Ages, you're going to want to build those 2 items on him now. So yeah, this is some nice changes to Cass. So if you were enjoying his rework, it just got better. So have fun with it. Next, though, we do have the tree, which is of course Maca, and what they're doing on him is not really anything too big, but on his Q, which is his Arcane Smash, the slow value now match is the tooltip. So it was kind of their error, but basically now he's got better slow values on his Q. So
I'm surprised. Like, this is one of those things where I think that if he would have been like a highly played champion, they would have fixed a long time ago. But since he's like non-existent almost in all forms of play, that they just let it slide, kind of a thing, and now they just fixed it. So
it's not a huge change. If you're playing the tree, cool. I actually think he's fine, but he's not.
If you're playing the tree, you are awesome.
Yes, there you go. There it is. Next, we have some changes to Rengar, which obviously because of his rework, tweaks are going to happen. So Rengar, what's happening here is they're following up on the rework. First off, on his Q, which is his savagery, attack animation speeds increased by 40%, and the bonus damage is going to start a little bit higher and get a lot higher. So instead of 20 to scaling up to 100, it's going to be 30, scale up to 150. So he's getting better damage on that, which is quite good. And to reflect that on his empowered savagery, same thing on the attack animation, but the bonus damage is also going to scale a lot higher. Or not a lot higher, but it scales a little bit higher, and it starts higher. So just better damage overall on his Q, which should help him out a little bit, because a lot of people think that feels a little weak, and I agree, it feels a little bit underwhelming considering what we are so used to.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's a good change.
He's going to be one of those. All assassins are really hard to tweak, though, without going too overboard, because if you buff them a little, then you don't like fully realize the consequences. So I like that they're doing it a little bit at a time, because 50 bonus damage isn't that much when you're talking late game tanks that have 4,000 health. So
exactly what you said. It's hard to tweak assassins. Look at Kha'Zix and how many times they've had to tweak different parts of his kit to try to get it right. They've changed his Q, they've changed his ult, they changed his W, because different parts of it were way too strong for other parts of it, so they keep moving it around trying to find the sweet spot. So it's the same thing that's going to happen with Rengar. So you just kind of have to, I don't want to say deal with it, but you just got to live with it until they find that sweet spot. So as I always say too in my builds, or whenever I'm making anything for any champion, after a rework, just be prepared for changes, or even after champion release, because once it finally gets into all game modes and it gets into all ranks of play, they have to figure out where the sweet spot is for all of that. So that is what they're doing here. And then obviously on Thrill of the Hunt too, small tweak, stealth alert now only appears that enemies would be able to see Rengar out of stealth. So a small change there, and that's pretty much the big changes to him is that Q. So pretty helpful.
Like these next changes.
Rumble is getting some changes. Rumble is seeing his Scrap Shield, the Danger Zone bonus, going up to 50%. And then same with the Danger Zone movement speed bonus is 50% on that Scrap Shield. And then the Electro Harpoon, also same thing happening there. So 25%, the damage bonus is 50%, and the slow bonus is 50%. So what they're doing here, and they actually state it right above, is we're adding more danger to the Danger Zone in order to separate the good Rumbles from the great Rumbles, which I think is something that's really nice on champions, where you have to manage this stuff so much, because the problem with Rumble is everybody gets to lane and they basically just spam, which is still decently rewarding, but if you did it better, it would be better for you instead of just something that's annoying. So
yeah,
I
definitely.
think it is exactly what they stated. It is a buff, because
but only if you're good.
But only if you're good. So if you're good with Rumble and you like Rumble, you just got
50% extra movement speed is just ridiculous. Like, that's gonna make Rumble, when he has Danger Zone Scrap Shield on, really, really hard to catch. Then the same thing that goes for his E. If he gets a hold of you with one of those, that he can almost, if he has the Danger Zone, he could probably flash E people and initiate fights that way.
Yeah, he probably could. Yeah, this is one of those things though where I think they're fixing those AP tops.
Yeah,
this is gonna help out another AP top. So, kind of interesting. But we'll see how that works out in the end. So, you know what I'm thinking, actually, all of a sudden?
That they're trying to get AP tops?
Yeah, why hasn't Kassadin been tried in top with the new rework?
I feel like Kassadin is a little bit too squishy.
He is, but he's got the shield.
Yeah, but this isn't...
Yeah, it'd still be tough early.
Pretty mana hungry.
That's true.
He's real mana.
Still an interesting concept.
And if he was on, red side, then he would be on the opposite side of blue buff. And he needs blue buff.
That's true. No. I guess if they change that stuff, then he could. But yeah, he can't until that changes. Interesting. Next, though, we do have Twitch. Twitch has received his visual update, which is cool, and he has legs now, because he didn't before. In general, he just looks amazing now. His Q, his ambush, added new particles for that. Oh, I'm scrolling by accident. His E, which is contaminate, which used to be called expunge. They added a new range indicator to that. Particle now shoots from Twitch to his victims.
Cool.
I saw a picture of this. It actually does look pretty sweet. And then his spray and pray has a new name, which is rat-tat-tat-tat, which is stupid.
I think they need to switch it back to spray and pray.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I think people might actually demand it. But his spray and pray, which is still called spray and pray in my brain, it now has new better particles to indicate the secondary targets that are getting hit, which is nice because his spray and pray actually in an actual fight before, you couldn't exactly tell in all the chaos what was happening. So, but besides the slight changes to his kit, just the names and just indicators and such, he got the visual rework. So if you haven't seen it yet, it looks really good. So I applaud Riot. They made Twitch look sweet, and it actually looks cool. So he looks like people will probably play him a lot because he looks like a fun champion. So
well, he's still really strong. Like I think he's like one of the most underrated.
Oh yeah, he's
like
underrated
80 carries right now because he's played a lot in OGN, like in the Korean scene, and he just hasn't made his way over here. I don't know why.
Team comps have been slightly different to support it, but yeah, he's been fine. He's a good champion. He should be played. He'll be played more now, so we'll see it some more. Those are your champion changes. Next, we do have some item changes. First being the big, large one is the Wriggles Lantern. And what the big thing about Wriggles has changed is that its cost has actually gone up 150 gold. And to get to the Feral Flare transformation, it's not 25 minions anymore. It's now 30. And I think this is
a much needed change. And I don't think they went too overboard with it because like you said, you could build Wriggles Lantern on Nautilus or like anybody.
Yeah, if you just wanted to jungle, pretty much anybody would be able to build it. Now, I think the only things that will be building the Wriggles Lantern to potentially get the Feral Flare is just the only people who can actually clear the jungle really fast. I'm going to be honest, I'm not even sure if I'd get it on Zen anymore.
I don't know. It's a pretty good item.
Well, the problem is
still
the only problem with it is on Zen, since I've been playing him more and I've always liked him a lot, is he does gank really well early. So if you're spending a lot of time to gank actually and ignoring some of those camps, it's going to take you even longer to get to that 30.
That's true.
So he doesn't really completely benefit from it. The only other people I think that do benefit from it now are like Shyvana Jungle, who doesn't really gank much early because she doesn't have quite a good presence, so she will just farm it. And Yi and Warwick, who either can't gank or can clear in absurdly fast. Like Yi, he still can gank. They're not amazing, but he can still gank. But he clears a wave so fast because of his Alpha Strike. So it's the champions that can just uber clear, I think, are just going to be the ones who use it. And then we're going to see a few people not use it. The other thing I will say is this is going to start to hopefully turn off people who think they need to just get their stacks. Because even if you're an in-between jungler with 30 monster kills that you have to get, and you're a meh jungler, you're going to abuse your lanes a lot, and it's going to show. And you're not going to get your item stacked, and you're going to lose games without even ever showing a presence. So I think people need to learn when is the correct time to build this item, because previously in the last patch everybody was just building it all the time, and that's too often.
Yeah, 25 large minions was about 15 minutes, and going to 30 makes it like 17 and a half, and I don't know how many games you have multiple turrets down by that time, so I think that's a really good change, just extending that a little bit. And then also people aren't going to be able I've seen people with like 50 Feral Flare stacks, so it's going to tone back the overall damage as well. So I think they're doing a good job of nerfing it slowly instead of just like completely taking it out.
Yeah, I agree. And the gold change is different too, because now that it costs a little bit more, you won't be able to buy it on your first trip back if you did gank and got a kill. So because of that, you just don't actually have as much of that power early. So overall, it's a good change. People just need to learn when to build it and when not to build it on what champion should never build it. Because I even was like the Feral Flare Lee Sin, like it's like he should be ganking. It's Lee Sin. He's epic at his ganks. Why is he farming a Feral Flare? He should be ganking.
By the time he finishes Feral Flare, he's gonna get past his useful point.
Exactly, because he falls off a little bit later. So you gotta just know what makes sense with that. So be smart with your lantern choice or your acorn choice.
Item choice.
Yeah. You gotta be careful.
Acorns.
So that is the only item change, though, in this patch. Next, we have Summoner Spells, which they're going to be talking about heal. What is happening with heal is The multi-heal debuff is on it now. The heal is 50% less effective on allies that were previously healed in the past 35 seconds. This debuff only applies when an ally has been healed by summoner heal. So basically, if you and your support are running it, if you both use it at the same time in a fight, you're just both not going to get as huge of an effect from that second heal from your partner. And that's going to help out on just an absurd amount of life coming out of nowhere, really. And they they had this previously on heal.
Well, like, you're talking 18, like level 18, you get 2 heals on like the same 2 people, and you're talking 500 health on 2 targets. That's 1,000 effective HP. Like, that's 1,000 HP in a team fight, which is a lot.
It's a ton of health. So
it's much needed.
Yeah. So heal is just going to be a little less ridiculous. I don't want to say we'll see only. I don't know. I've seen 2 people take it to bot lane. You know, both the support and the ADC, depending on what the matchup is. I don't want to say we'll see that completely disappear, but you might see the supports start to take something different again.
Well, I think that now it'll force supports to take exhaust, because exhaust like, people forget that exhaust got buffed last patch, and it's really, really good. It's better than Ignite right now. So
if your ADC takes heal and you take exhaust as support and you exhaust the enemy ADC, like, you're gonna win that fight. It's gonna happen. So
especially if they have double heal.
Yeah, for sure. You'll win through it because exhaust is really good. So that is a summoner heal. Next we have Twisted Treeline. Skipped.
That's it.
And the Scar, Twisted Treeline. Bots. Slight bot change, nobody cares. And that is actually it for patch 4.6. 4.6 is really short, but there are some big changes in it. So hopefully you did make it through the end of this video. This video is like 1/4 the size of most of the other ones, though. So that essentially is patch 4.6. Just pay attention to how Lantern's going to play out if you play a lot of jungle and what champions you use it on. So, because this could really start, if you were getting screwed over by it previously, it's going to be hurting you even more. And that should be kind of a note on if that's a champion that should really be using that item. So
I don't feel that you're going to see 6, because I've played, I think, like probably 6 to 10 ranked games in the past 2 weeks, or like since the last patch came out. And every single time there was 6 jungle bans.
Yeah, that's also happening.
So I think that'll ease up on that a little bit as well.
I did notice that too. Yeah, when our ranked team's been playing, they're like jungle bans. I mean, we still get rid of Nidalee, but everybody was banning Master Yi, Xin Zhao, Vi, Pantheon. Just junglers are all getting axed because of the Lantern. So. But that's going to be it for 4.6. Hopefully you guys learned something. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments too. Don't forget to go check out Kyle's channel, which is down in the description if you want to go clicky there. But other than that, guys, I guess me and Kyle just see you guys in the next patch notes.
Later, guys.